There are 7 questions in this weight loss quiz. How many can you get right? Because for most people, the answer is not all 7. Let's dive straight in. Don't worry, you don't have to submit your answers anywhere, but do keep track of how many you get. So if you find value in this, because I'm going to explain each one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So let's start you off with a nice, easy one. Eating clean slash healthy foods is all you need to lose weight. True or false? Pressure. Have a think. True or false? The answer is false, and I'm going to explain why. Because when it comes to weight loss, the most important factor in whether you'll lose weight or not is how much food you eat, aka how many calories you consume. So, everyone in the world has a number of calories they need to consume consistently to maintain the weight they are now. If you eat less than that number consistently, you will lose weight. It's called being in a calorie deficit. If you eat more than that number consistently, you will gain weight. It's called being in a calorie surplus. And obviously, if you eat that number roughly consistently, you will maintain your weight. That's the most important factor. It's the one thing you cannot get wrong. I am not saying it is the only factor because that is absolutely not the truth. Other things matter as well, but you cannot get the amount of food wrong. And eating healthy or eating clean foods just doesn't guarantee that you will be in a calorie deficit. So it's not all you need to do to lose weight. You need to control the amount of food you're consuming. That is the most important. Let's move on to number 2. Hopefully, I haven't lost everyone. So, if 2 people eat the same amount of food, but one cuts out sugar, that person will get results faster. Now, in this case, I'm saying these people are the same weight, the same height, same activity level, everything the same, right? So, true or false? Have a think, true or false? The answer is false because remember the first answer, right? So the most important thing is the amount of food you consume. So we want 80 to 90% of that food intake or those calories to come from the nutrient filled, less processed foods. So think meat, fish, chicken, turkey, eggs, oats, potatoes, rice, fruits, veggies, avocados, nuts, things that are full of nutrients and not very heavily processed. I'm sure I missed out on a few there, but you get the idea, hopefully. But you can still have 10% of your total intake from chocolate, um, you can have it from jellies, you can have it from crisps, from whatever you want, as long as that total intake is right. And as long as you get that kind of 80 to 90% and that 10% balance right. People who cut out sugar, they won't get results any faster if those 2 people are eating the same amount of food. And I would argue that the people who go drastic and eliminate all sugar will not make it because they'll end up quitting because they're doing something that's completely unnecessary and something that's not sustainable for them long term. Cutting out sugar for most people is just not going to work, and you're going to end up in a binge because those are the foods you enjoy, and then you're teaching your food that those food you're teaching your brain that those foods are bad, and that's just not the case, right? And when we tell our brains that these foods are bad or these foods are treats or special, then we turn into little kids again and we want those foods more and more and more and more until it eventually ends in a binge. So assuming that the total amount of food is the same for these people, cutting out sugar will not help you lose weight faster. I would argue it will help you rebound a lot quicker. Next question. So, the best diet to follow for weight loss is low carb, keto, intermittent fasting, vegan. It doesn't matter. Have a think. I'm going to go back and give you one more look. Low carb, keto, intermittent fasting, vegan. It doesn't matter. The answer is it doesn't matter. And that's going to sound crazy to a lot of people, right? Because all diets that have ever helped someone lose weight have followed. If someone has lost weight on that diet, it's because they control their total amount of food, their total amount of calories. Remember that first point, and that's really important to know and to understand. The diet they use doesn't really matter, right? All that matters is that they control the total amount of food. Now, what I will say is people try to do things that are really, really drastic. And while it gets them results in the short term, it's not sustainable for them long term, right? But I'd also say that people who are big promoters and um, of low carb, of keto, of vegan, of intermittent fasting, or whatever it is for weight loss, and they tell people you have to do this. This is the only way. A lot of the time, either there's some financial gain for them, or they are they have tried this diet. Like this happened a lot with low carb, and it completely changed their life. They lost a lot of weight, and they're way more energy, and their whole life has been changed for the better, which is amazing. But now they become almost religious and fanatical about it, and that really makes them tunnel vision to low carb. But they don't understand that the reason they lost the weight is because they controlled the calories, and they just happen to find a way that hopefully they enjoy. So when I say the best diet to follow for weight loss doesn't matter, it's because you need to find a way of eating that suits you, that suits the foods you enjoy, so long as you control the total amount of food and you get at least 80, preferably 90% of it from the more nutrient filled, less processed foods. But whether you intermittent fast or not, there's no magic to it. If you enjoy vegan or keto or low carb, then go for it, but understand why you're getting results and understand what's necessary and what's not necessary. Another good point to make on this is that cutting out whole nutrients is rarely beneficial for anyone. I would say if you're doing any sort of resistance or workouts or exercise, you want to be consuming high protein, assuming you don't have any health issues that would prevent that. But high protein is beneficial. And then eat whatever balance of carbs and fats you enjoy. If you're someone who's really active, then eat higher carb, especially if you're doing high intensity training or strength training, because carbs are going to be your body's preferred fuel source for that training. Okay. If you've got some value already or something has shocked you, hit the subscribe button because we're only getting started. So, most people, we're at 3. This is number 4. Most people need supplements to look and feel their best. True or false? Most people need supplements to look and feel their best. True or false? The answer is true, right? But I want to be clear on something because that's going to shock a lot of people. What I want to be clear on is that you don't need supplements to lose weight. There are no weight loss supplements, right? They're a myth. There are some supplements that are beneficial for health. And the reason I say most people will need supplements to look and feel their best, not to lose weight, because you don't need supplements to lose weight, but in order to look and feel your best, is because very few people eat a varied and wide enough diet consistently to get all of the nutrients they need to look and feel their best. And just one example of that, let's say, is vitamin D. So I live in Ireland, and anyone who lives in Ireland or the UK, you're not seeing the sun a whole lot. So certainly for at least half of the year, we should be supplementing with vitamin D because we're not getting enough from sunlight. Maybe people don't eat oily fish twice a week and they would benefit from some omega-3 fish oils. Maybe they got some blood work done and certain nutrients were low. Maybe you need a whey protein supplement to help you boost your protein intake because you just can't get enough from food. Maybe you need creatine. Maybe you need different things. You don't need any supplements for weight loss, just to be clear once again. But in order to look and feel your best, most people will need some supplement because we don't. And this is just personal experience, most people don't eat a varied enough diet consistently to hit all of their nutrient demands. Next up, question 5, I think. I should have numbered these. Everyone should drink 2 liters of water. True or false? So everyone should drink 2 liters of water. True or false? It is false, and that surprises a lot of people because 2 liters of water is something you see plastered everywhere, and it's often the first change people make when they're trying to improve their health or lose weight. Say, right, I'm going to drink 2 liters of water, but that's a bad idea. So, first of all, how much water you need varies greatly. So, a good aim or a good guideline is 1 liter per 25 kilos of body weight. So, if you weigh 50 kilos, that's 2 liters, 75 kilos, 3 liters, 100 kilos, 4 liters. Now, that can obviously vary depending on how active you are and the kind of lifestyle you live and the food you eat. But what I'd also say is jumping straight to 2 liters is a bad idea if you're only getting 500 mils now. So, not everyone should drink 2 liters of water, especially not starting off. Because if you're getting 500 mils now and you try to jump to 2 liters, it's going to be a big old pain in the ass. And that's going to lead to you most likely quitting. Whereas if you even aimed for 1 liter for a week, and if you can consistently hit that for a week or even 2 weeks, then go to 1.5, do that for 2 weeks, and then go to 2 liters, it will stick long term. It is a much better plan. We need to make it easy for you to win. And then, obviously, in terms of total amount of water, 2 liters is just a guideline that might work for some people, but often people need more, particularly once you start exercising. Next up, which one of these is the best for weight loss? 1 meal a day, 3 meals a day, 6 meals a day, or it doesn't matter. 1, 3, 6, or it doesn't matter. You choose which is best for weight loss. It doesn't matter. And that surprises people as well, because I guarantee you, a lot of people went for 3, and some people might have heard that, oh, I need to eat every couple of hours to stoke my metabolism or stoke the metabolic fire, and that's all a pile of crap. So the reason it doesn't matter is because remember that first point, controlling your total amount of food. Let's say someone needs to eat 2,000 calories a day to lose weight, right? Just a random number I pull out right now. They could do that in two 1,000 calorie meals. So one in the morning, one in the evening. They could have four 500 calorie meals spread across the day. They could have five 400 calorie meals spread across the day. They could have 10 200 calorie meals spread across the day. All roads lead to 2,000 calories. So it doesn't matter as long as the total food is right. What I will say, a little caveat to that is having some consistency is going to be important. So going from 10 meals to 4 meals to 8 meals to 1 meal to like that's going to make it very hard for you to be consistent. So having meal structure is really, really important. What I'd also say is that the meal structure you choose needs to suit your lifestyle and what you have going on. So maybe you are working and then you have the kids and then you have your taxi driving kids to activities, or you want to get your own social life or exercise in. So you need to pick a meal structure that suits your day. Maybe the best meal structure for you is skipping breakfast and having your first meal like 10, 11, 12 o'clock, whatever it is, and then having more food in the second half of the day. Or maybe the opposite is true, or maybe it's somewhere in the middle. It doesn't matter. But get the total amount of food right, and then find a meal structure that suits you and that you can be consistent with, especially if you're someone who's tracking calories. Because a lot of time, people who track calories tend to over snack and not have a consistent meal structure. And that makes it harder to move away from tracking calories. So that one surprised a lot of people I know. So the the more you sweat, the more weight you will lose. This might be the last one. I'm not quite sure. The more you sweat, the more weight you lose. True or false? This is the last one, I'm pretty sure. So true or false? The answer is true. I know a lot of people expected that to be false, but this right here, sweat is just fat crying, that is false, right? So people think, oh, I'll sweat more. That means I had a good workout. It doesn't. Um, how much you sweat is genetic and down to a bunch of other factors. And also, when you sweat more, you're not losing fat. What you're losing is water, and you're losing your body's stored energy. So your body uses carbs to fuel like high intensity workouts, and that's stored in your body as glycogen. So when you work out, your body uses that as fuel. So the more you sweat and the harder you work out, you're losing water and you're losing glycogen. You're not losing body fat, right? But you will technically lose more weight. So the more you sweat, the more weight you lose, and that one is true. So it is important that you do understand that you're going to lose more weight, but understand that you're not losing fat, you're losing water. And once you have a drink and you're losing carbs, your carb stores, and once you eat something, that's going to come back. So don't use that as a judge as to whether you're losing weight or not, or as a judge of a good workout, because that's absolutely not the sign of a good workout. The end. Thank you so much for taking part in this quiz. Please comment below and let me know how many you got right out of 7, and be honest.